So, I played Heartbound. I dared to play the most hated man on the internet right now's game. I've done it, so you don't have to. Is it good, or is it bad? Is it a catastrophic failure on a scale hitherto undreamt of?
Did you seriously just say hitherto undreamt of?
Let's talk about it. Now I'm going to put my biases aside here.
To be clear, I can't stand the guy.
But I don't think it'd be fair to review this game just to trash it because I don't like it. I don't care about his feelings. I care about you and giving an honest review for you. What am I, a games journalist? Thanks. Black Myth sucks. It's sexism. It's other kinds of isms. Don't buy it. Heartbound is a passion project developed by he who must not be named. The arch nemesis of Stop Killing Games. Development for this game started before 2015, so it has been in development for over 10 years. His first build was designed for proof of concept, and so he who must not be named could learn how to use Game Maker. In early 2017, a Kickstarter was launched to fund the development of the game, with a $5,000 goal set which was achieved in 2 days, and in the end the goal was absolutely decimated with 19,272 raised. An early access build was released in December of 2018, and the game is yet to be completed 7 years later. The game continues to receive updates, adding more story and more gameplay. He who must not be named is the game director, with Brady Shea Ramel as lead artist and Stein van Wakkeren as composer and sound designer. I apologize for any mispronunciations there. Sorry. I can't find sales for the game, but estimates are at around 100,000, which is pretty good, and isn't all that surprising when you consider how large of a streamer he is. So there is some juicy context for you. Juicy. Shut up and talk about the game. Okay. Visually, I like it. I like this art style. It gives you a little bit of nostalgia for those retro games. It's not anything new, it's a tried and tested art style, and that's fine. What I do really like is the designs of some of the enemies and NPCs you can talk to and interact with. The designs of the areas, though, didn't look all that interesting, but they do differentiate, and each world you go to looks and feels different. There is a bit of personality there, and it gives it something unique. Now, there is one world with full-on walking and talking animals, and it's nightmare fuel. I'm sure the furries out there go absolutely nuts for something like this, but to me, it unsettles me. Man, I just wanted to get the f*** out of that world as quickly as possible. The story follows a young lad named Law searching for his dog, but finds himself undertaking this journey through worlds where he has to complete quests while dealing with his emotional distress. So the way it works, or at least as I interpret it as, is each world represents some form of past trauma for Law. The beginning is kind of like the beginning of The Wizard of Oz. He gets sucked out of his own world and just goes on this adventure through a different world. But 3 worlds. Then each world tells its own little story. So that is how the story is told. The story itself... it's not good. I'm never given a reason to care. There's no characters to connect with or get emotionally invested with. The hook that's meant to get me interested into this story is your dog getting taken and the game is trying to guilt you into saying it's your fault. Your crime? The horrible thing you did to deserve this guilt trip? You went to sleep. Yeah, that's it. You went to sleep, woke up, and he was no longer there. You go to World 1, it's a choice which world you choose, but I went left to right, and I ended up going to the Tower world first. The world is telling its own self-contained story, how grueling and soul-destroying a job in the corporate hellhole is, which is fine. That self-contained story isn't the problem in that world, it's the gameplay. Oh, don't worry, I'll get to the gameplay in a minute. But at the end of this world, we're introduced to the antagonist of this game. Are you shaking in your boots? Is your giant forehead also sweating? It's your mum. I'm not joking. I too am also scared of your mum. What has she done that's so dark? Oh, this is gonna get dark. I'm gonna need therapy after this one. So she called the dad pathetic and said Law will also be pathetic. Waste of time was also said. She calls him a bad person. Are these hurtful things? Yes. Is it something that would upset a child? Yes. Is it enough to be the antagonist of a game? No. I didn't know whether to include this boss fight in story or gameplay, so I'll just put it here, but this boss fight is just pick the good option. It flashbacks to certain points in the game where you could have made bad decisions. Honestly, some of them didn't know I had a choice. She's just trying to call our main character a bad person, and you fight back with, no, you. How about that one? That's it, that's the fight. And that's kind of the only story in the game because the other chapters aren't finished yet. The second world, which is the forest animal world, is just you being nice to the animals, or bad. I just didn't care. Why do I care about this forest? Why do I care about these nightmare fuel animal people? I'm never given a reason. As far as I can tell, they're just going about their lives and some weird kid dropped in looking for his dog. I think this world is supposed to be about relationships and character building and encouragement to be yourself. You also have these floating objects that are analyzing you after each choice. You've been a bad boy. Good boy. Very good boy. It's like they're preparing the character for something. What for? Don't know, because it's not finished. The third world, well, you walk through the doors into the world, and that's it. That's all they have for that world. Are you feeling scammed? I'm feeling scammed. Ultimately, this story lacks any depth. It's disjointed. It's lacking any kind of subtext because the story is told through clumsy dialogue. It feels like someone's first time writing when they were a teenager, which is fine. I don't expect George R.R. Martin levels of writing. The only thing they got from Big George was not finishing their story. I didn't care. I didn't care about the dog. Okay, maybe a little, but who wouldn't miss a talking dog? I really did not care about the mommy issues going on. To me, it just looked like she had a bad day, but that was apparently enough for this kid to see her as this absolute monster. None of the characters are memorable except for the way they are designed visually. The dialogue, okay. The dialogue, it's not good. Every character talks like he who must not be named talks. Every character seems to have the same sense of humor, the same speech patterns. If not for these images, I wouldn't be able to tell these characters apart. The only one that differentiated from the others was the armadillo, who I was told so eloquently was making sad armadillo noises. The humor does not land except for one part where this turtle couple has a stare down and the husband backs down. That was pretty funny. Problem isn't necessarily the bad dialogue. There are AAA games with bad dialogue. The problem is there is so much of it. It is 90% of the game and it's mind-numbing after a while. The choice he who must not be named should have made when making this game was to add no dialogue or hire a writer. There's plenty of them. Okay, the actual gameplay. What did we get from the ex-Blizzard employee extraordinaire? I worked at Blizzard, you know. I experienced a total of 3 boss fights. You might think to yourself, that's not so bad. Except that's all the combat in the game. These are fights through mini-games that you would see in a mobile game. They are fine and they are the most fun part of the game, but they are basic and they're just not enough. Okay, but what about puzzles? There's puzzles. 3 that I can remember. One where you push a button, one where you press things on the screen, I guess. It did have one good puzzle where you had to figure out the key code based on notes left around the office, and that was actually fun to figure out. It was fairly early on, and for a second there, I was actually hopeful. Hey, this could be pretty good. But instead of puzzles like that, we get boring office minigames that I'm sure is meant to be a commentary on corporate life. It sure did that because I was bored to tears. The second world is even worse because all you do is walk around and talk to people because you're trying to fix a watch. Oh wait, there is one minigame where I got to catch flowers. Man, I'm gonna need to load up Space Marine 2 after this. With me, brothers, slay your enemies. Cuddles for everyone. Wait, I'm one girly minigame away from downloading The Sims. If you had told me this game was made by a middle-aged man, I would not have believed you. The game also has no sense of progression. You don't strengthen as your character progresses through the story. You don't really unlock anything or find things that assist you in your journey. I feel like I'm being too harsh. Am I being too harsh? The main selling point for this game is its choice. So much choice. Me having played through the game, I can tell you I did not notice. You always have 2 options and the game is very clear. This good, this bad. Problem is, I don't care. So all these choices mean nothing to me. Apparently, I had the chance to kill this guy. Believe me, if I knew I could do that, I would have done it in a heartbeat, because at least then it would be interesting. Apparently, whether you mess with things or decide to steal, it can mess with what happens in the game. For these choices to matter, you need to give me something. You need to give me something that lets me see how I'm affecting the world. Let me see something that makes me want to play the game again to see what would have happened if I did something else. By the way, I'm not playing this again. One other thing that I actually liked was the music. I did. I really did. It at least made these levels somewhat bearable. So that's something. So that's the game. Now the game can be altered and maybe another finished chapter and another 3rd chapter can help improve the game. Maybe. But the gameplay, I don't see that being improved upon. Actually, I have reason to doubt any improvement because this game has been in development for over 10 years. It just feels like a scam game. $19,000 behind this. Bear in mind, he who must not be named probably makes that in a week at this point. He streams like 16 hours a day. So why is this game not finished by now? Oh, and so far, it's only 2 hours long. Hollow Body came out last year, a survival horror inspired by Silent Hill, and it was one of my favourite games last year. Loved it. Same thing, had a Kickstarter, except this was just one guy who did everything. Took him 3 years, I believe. And he made a much better game, and it has multiple endings. And if you were to ask me which one took longer to make, I'd say Hollow Body. Why his fanbase isn't losing their minds for how long they have to wait for this game, and ultimately the game they're getting, I will not understand. If I didn't know who this was, and I was recommended this game, I'd react a little like this. Why did you recommend me a scam game? I'll destroy you for this. I spoke in my Stop Killing Games video about how something needs to happen with companies that sell you unfinished games. I do think that indie developers deserve some leeway, I do. But 10 years in development, 7 years in early access. It's a game that was funded by a Kickstarter. It's also sold over 100,000 copies, apparently. There has to be some sort of accountability for this. It's not fair for the customers or the people who funded it. It just feels like early access is a shield for taking any accountability. I also think this is important to discuss in the gaming community because this is the biggest game dev streamer, and he's gotten away with a lot here in my opinion. And I think there needs to be some accountability when you gladly take people's money but fail to deliver them a full game after 7 years. But is it woke? I'm joking. Anyway, that's me, and yes, that was me unbiased. I could have been harsher, much harsher, but thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.